What's going on, folks? Simulation for the Nation here. You join me inside the cab of the Class Evian, the new Combine 2 FS25. Today, we're going to be looking into an experiment to see, is swathing really worth it? Do you gain any benefits from swathing your crops ahead of harvesting? So what we're going to do, we are just finishing up this little, well, starting this little field here. We've also got the field of wheat, I believe it is, over there to go at as well. We're going to harvest them both as they are with the Combine, more traditional approach, I suppose. And then we're going to come back in to the save game, and then swath it first, and then pick it up with the Macdon header you see on the ground there as well. With the idea being that at the end, we can look at both crops in the trailer and deduce exactly if there's any difference, if it's more beneficial to swath ahead of time, or if indeed it is less beneficial to swath ahead of time. We'll find out. So that is going to be the plan. We're going to get this one finished nice and quickly anyway. We're already sitting there at 1800 litres in the tank. We haven't done anything with these fields. These are the default fields that you start with here on Riverbend Springs. So no fertilizer, no nothing, they just are as they are. But in theory, one would expect, regardless of the field state, if you were to maximize your potential yield there, that the results would be the same. So we will just see how we get on here, really. It's looking like a pretty good crop as well. The texture's looking handy. I do really like this little combine, actually. It's not by anywhere, it's probably the smaller end of the class range, but it's a really handy looking combine. Very, very nice indeed. So we will just keep pushing through. Get this field finished there, and we'll come back to you. I don't believe it's going to fill a tank. Certainly it hasn't been on previous versions, so we'll see how we go. But when we come to empty this field, we'll come back and give you a bit of an update. Okay, so we have finished the first field here. Combine and hired worker are heading along to finish off the slightly bigger field. We have in our trailer over here, we're going to make a note of this in our table just so we can have it all formulated up nicely. But there is a little bit in here now, all fit into one grain tank, but we are looking at 6,166 litres of OSR in there. I expect a little bit more from the field that we're in now, but we shall find out. So we'll get this one all done, we'll start to knock up a bit of a table, and then we can rinse and repeat with the swather and see how we get on. We're currently 2 headlands down, and he has just started on the inside of the field. But check out the ground deformation here with the combine. Obviously a heavier vehicle there passing through, and you can really see all of the wheelings there as well. So something to really think about when you are preparing your field for the next crop. And look at it on the plowed field there as I cut across to start the next field. That looks superb. Really, really impressive there for sure. This field won't take too much longer to finish up, and then we'll have a look to see what we've got and what we look to achieve here. And so with the field finished there, we already had to unload once, so we're going to stick the rest of it into here as well. And we'll see what we end up with before we go and rinse and repeat, really. But there's a fair bit in here. Some nice spilling over the edge. And then, yeah, next game is we'll restart the game save, jump on into the swathers, we'll get everything swathed down, and we'll get this all started up one more time. So, from this one field of wheat here, we are looking at a grand total of 12,348 litres. So, let's start again, and we'll see what we get up to. Alright, so we are ready to go. This first field's not going to take too long to swath down at all. And I gotta say straight from the outset here, this is something that as a feature of the game that I really do like, actually, and it's been really good fun to get to use these, and it just looks visually very appealing. Now I had heard rumours that there is an additional benefit to swathing, and we're going to try and see if that's for real, see if that actually tracks today. So it's quite quick to actually get the ground covered here when you are out and about, and I would love to see maybe as the mods create, as the mod creators out there get to grips with the game, I'd love to see a few different variations, some more classic machines maybe, but right now at least, this is just the one that we have with the Macdon headers on, which are quite large, quite difficult to get in if there was hedges and gateways around here. It'd be a little bit more challenging to get in, that is for sure, but as you can see, we're able to cover an awful large amount of ground in one go. We'll get this all just knocked out here, and then we'll probably get hired worker onto the other field as we start to lift this one as well, so we can start to get some results here and see, compare and contrast between direct cut and swathing as well. Regardless of whether or not it does actually add or take away anything from your output, it's a really nice additional process to have in game here. The Macdon headers are superb, they really do look good. I love the crop textures for the swathing as well as the straw. It does look very, very nice. I'm curious, I don't think it will have any effect, but if like you travel over a swath if that would have any effect, like as you can see the deformation ground lines there, but I just don't think it'll have any effect. Now what it will do though is there's extra tire tracks on your field, if that's of something of importance to you, but realistically it's just nice to be able to cruise along here and pick up everything you need to pick up. Again, maybe some modded headers in here like Shellboard Reynolds, that kind of stuff would be cool to see over time, but again, it's just a minor thing, and I'm sure we'll see at some point down the line. There as well, the Swather is going into the wheat as well, so we shall see how that reacts and what the benefits are there. This field's not very big at all. Once it's swapped down, it's a little bit easier to clear it because there's a lot less ground to cover, but it's some significant expense, I will say, to acquire the full rig, that's for sure. But we will make sure we get all of this, because we have to be sure to collect it all off the deck. Well, the first field is finished there. The results will be kept secret till the end, and now we're on with the wheat field here as well. And we're flying through them. I'm not going to show you what's in the trailer or what's not in the trailer, but could be quite some interesting results here once we're all said and done. But we will get this all finished up. Not too much more left, 4 rows left to go, and then we'll have a look through the results there, and then we'll also look into various different costs associated with the machinery as well, because obviously we might need to buy different headers, swathers, that kind of stuff, but we'll look into all of that in just a few minutes once we finish all this field. Alright folks, so we are done. Everything is cleared off there and the results are in, and they are actually quite something. So we're going to start with the field that we're in here, which is the wheat field. Now, when we just combine this with the conventional combine, you were looking at collecting 12,348 litres. We came back through again, we swapped it, and then we picked it up with the Swather pickup reel there, and we collected 15,371 litres, which is a staggering 24% increase, which is fantastic. Really good to see. Compare that with over there with the OSR that we did the same process in. Initially there we were looking at 6,166 litres. When we came back through it again, it was 7,690 litres, which was a 25% increase. So it's fairly safe to say across the two crops there that the swathing and then the collection does add on extra 25% yield to your crop. Now, worth pointing out, this is straw. I actually had straw in there for a moment there, and that lump is ground deformation. I think they wouldn't let me pick that up. So it's probably about 25% across the board on each. Now, there's something to consider with this, because sure, you're getting an extra 25% revenue there or yield there, which is fantastic. You can sell that and make a lot more money, but there's a lot more implementation and integration costs to consider as well. For example, this swather that we have in game, if you're going to buy that outright, is £135,000. If you're going to rent it per day, it is £8,370. The header to go with it is 97k up front, or £5,100 if you were to rent that too. So if you were to rent the swather for a full day to swap everything down you needed, it's going to cost you £13,470. So sure, you're making an extra 25% yield, which you can then sell, but you're going to have to make sure you have sufficiently high enough area to cover that you're actually going to make more on top of it, because otherwise the first, depending upon the time of year you sell it, at least the first 13,000 litres, if not more, is going to go towards the cost of the swather. The pickup reel that you see on the combine there is actually the same price as the conventional 6-meter reel that goes on this class Evian anyway, which is that one over there. £52,000 to rent it, to buy it, sorry, or £2,652 to rent it. So in theory, if you were going to go all out and swath everything, you wouldn't make a loss there. It is only to be considered when you factor in the reel, the swather, and the swathing reel over there. So something definitely worth considering. 25% yield is a huge uptake, and it's definitely worth factoring if you have sufficient ground to cover. If you're just going to do one field like this, you're going to make a loss because you're just not going to cover it. Ultimately, with 25%, you're going to be down. So there you go. 25% yield is huge, but is it worth it? You've got to factor that in, and ultimately, you've got to see if you can afford to stomach the cost. I hope this video has been informative and you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I have been Simulation for the Nation. If you haven't yet to do so, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button to see more as well. Videos coming out all through the week as we get stuck into Farming Simulator 25. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Do stay safe. Enjoy what you're doing as always, and we'll see you next time.